Alright, today I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on a 2019, 2020, and as far as I know, 2021 Cbr650r. For an oil filter, I always go with the K&Ns because they got the nice little adapter for the wrench. K&N 204-1 is the filter you're going to need. And then I always run full synthetic, make sure it's motorcycle oil. 10W40, I believe the bike factory calls for 10W30. However, 1040 is just more easily available. It's a little thicker. Remember, the oil's hot, so a little more protection. I'm no physicist or chemist or whatever the hell you want to call me, so I'm not going to argue oil. That's just what I run in my bikes is 10W40. It works good for me so far, so you can run whatever oil you want. Just make sure it is in fact motorcycle oil, because if it's not, it has friction modifiers in it that will damage your wet clutch. So make sure you use motorcycle oil is the most important part of that. So I just put the bike up on the front stand just so it's easier to see how I'm changing the oil, I guess. Rear stand's a little busy, or I'd have thrown it up on both. So if you come under here, you got your oil filter socket and you've got your oil filter. The reason I went ahead and put it on the front stand is whenever you're draining the oil, you can get away without removing the fairings. However, oil likes to drip on there and work its way all the way to the front, which is a pain in the butt. So you could either put it on stands. If you don't have stands, put a 2x4 underneath the kickstand so it's more vertical so that the oil doesn't leak onto the fairing. However, be careful the bike doesn't fall over if you put a 2x4 underneath the kickstand. 12mm socket. Go ahead and crack the drain bolt loose. Focus. 12mm. Check. Crack the drain bolt. Filter I'm taking off isn't the K&N one, so it's kind of a pain in the butt. Could use some pliers or something like that to get it off, or to get it loose. That's why I like the K&N one. Focusing on everything except for what I want you to. How about that? There we go. There is a washer. Just make sure you put the washer back on whenever you're done. I think it's bolted super long if I remember correct. Ooh, hot. I also like to ride the bike before, just to get all the sediment and stuff like that stirred up and floating in the oil. So I always ride the bike before I change the oil. Pain in the butt part about that is the catalytic converter is right there and it's real hot. So careful whenever you take it off. I just went ahead and spun that old filter off. Make sure the gasket is on the filter, because if it's not, you're gonna double gasket it and it's gonna leak. So always check that your gasket came off with the filter. If it didn't, just pull it off with your fingers right up there. Make sure you don't double gasket it or you'll dump all your oil out and probably onto your back tire and either wreck the bike or seize the engine. Neither of those is too fun. Got our new oil filter out. Already comes pre-oiled, so you don't have to worry about any of that. Like I said, there's this nice handy nut on the bottom. Personally, I don't use it to tighten them down, because I've heard horror stories of them leaking if you tighten it down, but it makes it way easier to get it off. Like I said before, you can leave the fairings on, but you're gonna get some oil up in here. And I lifted the back so that, or the front I should say, so that it didn't run all the way up into the front. Learned that one the hard way. Just keeping the bike level helps a lot too. Less oil drips down here. Just go ahead and wipe that all up. I tighten the filter as tight as I can get it by hand to put it on. Alright, I don't think that's going anywhere. All right, so to fill her up, here is your dipstick and fill. A nice clean on the inside funnel. Bike calls for 2.7 or 8 quarts, I forget. However, I just put all 3 in because an extra 0.2 or 0.3 is not gonna hurt it, and I'm sure it'll burn it before it's due for its next oil change anyway. I'm put an extra 2 quarts in it, but an extra 0.2, it's not gonna hurt it, like I said. All right, now I got it all filled up. Pull it out, try not to spill any. Dipstick slash fill cap back in and tight. Then I'm going to turn it on. I'll let it run for about maybe 30 seconds or so. Now for the next step, you want to get the bike level on flat ground, which is not perfect right now, but it'll be alright. Read it. So make sure the bike's not leaned over, it's perfectly flat. Stick the dipstick in. And there you go. Full dipstick. Good to go. Right at the max line. A little over, because like I said, I put those extra 0.2-ish quarts in there. Make sure that's nice and tight so it doesn't vibrate loose. And you did it. Change your oil. In case you're wondering how much it costs to change your oil yourself. Wow, we're having some issues with focusing today, aren't we? Come on, you can do it. There it is. So $10.99 a quart of oil, $9.99 for the filter. Total was $42.96. So I'm sure it's a lot cheaper than it is at the dealership. If you made it to the end, thanks, I appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments below, just leave them and I'll try to get back to all of them.